In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use the Flutter package Flutter rating bar. As you can see in the simple app we're going to build today, we have a rating bar of stars in this case. And then when we press on the stars here, you can see that our rating changes. You can also have half stars and you can also drag as you want to. You could also use different icons or whole widgets for each item instead. Let's get started. As mentioned, we're going to use the Flutter package Flutter rating bar. Just press on here to copy it to your clipboard. Then in your pubspec.yaml file, underneath your dependencies, just paste it in here and run pubget. That's all we need to do for the setup. Concerning our app, I simply build a very simple Flutter app where we have a scaffold. The scaffold has an app bar and the scaffold has a body, and this body has simply the widget rating bar, which is centered. In this case, we're using rating bar.builder. And then here you can pass in different parameters. So for example, initial rating. So when your bar gets shown for the first time, then it will have an initial rating of 3 stars in this case. The minimum rating is 1, so it can go to 0.5 stars. Item count you can also set here, so in this case it's 5 stars. You can allow half rating, so as you can see here, you can have a half star. Then the direction defines in which direction your bar should be, so in this case it's horizontal. You could also define it as vertical, so your stars, for example, would be in this direction here. Then you can define some padding in between those widgets. And then for the item builder here, we simply use a icon widget with the icon being a star. We can give this icon then a color. And whenever our rating gets updated, you can write in here your custom function. And this gives you a parameter of rating, so it's a double. And as you can see here, in this case, we print it out. So when we set the stars to 3.5, then you get this printed out, or when you set the stars to 3, then you get 3.0. Now, instead of using the rating bar.builder, you could also just simply use rating bar, as you can see here. And then you would define the parameter rating widget. And in here you have to define 3 widgets. The first widget is when the widget is full. The second widget is how it should look like when it's half full. And the third widget should be when it's empty. So in this case, we have 3 images here. This should of course be wrapped within the rating widget, and then you can use your rating bar as usual. And another option would also be defining a custom widget for each item. So in this case, we can again use the item builder, and in here we can define a switch case statement. And in this case, you can define your first widget, which could be completely custom, and then a second widget and so on. And in this case, you can see this as an example where you simply have different icons. Now, if you remember, in this case, we only had the star item, but in this case, we can define one icon, a second icon, the third icon, the fourth and the fifth. And if you remember, we can also define the item count. So we could also set this to a higher number of rating options or lower amount of rating options. I hope you liked this tutorial. Please leave a like and subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them down below in the comments. And thank you for watching.